One of the reasons that I went into the story that is The Empowered is that I wanted to explore, to investigate the concentric circles of evil, an anatomy of evil in a way, and also the power that it professes to possess, as well as the source of the power that can overcome evil. And as I explored it and investigated the whole idea of evil, I started out, number one, with the concentric circle of a worldview. It's been my experience and my investigation that worldviews are behind evil, either knowingly or unknowingly. Those who are evildoers may have a specific worldview that motivates them. Sometimes they haven't the faintest idea what motivates them, but there is a view of the world behind the evil that we see in the world today. Now, in The Empowered, I picked one particular source of evil, and that is a very violent subsect of voodoo. A lot of folks might say, well, voodoo is an interesting phenomena. It's an out there, down there, away from us kind of a phenomena. It has to be in backward societies, not in sophisticated the United States of America. Nothing could be farther from the truth. The deeper I got into investigation of voodoo, and particularly the violent subsets of it here in the United States and in other civilized countries, the more I realized that it is everywhere, not just in the bayous of Louisiana or in the French Quarter of New Orleans, but even in the marbled, sophisticated halls of Washington, D.C., where I do a lot of my work as a lawyer. And just to prove that point, as Tyndale Publishing House, my publisher, and I were getting ready for the release of The Empowered, to my surprise, The Empowered begins with a voodoo hex being cast in Washington with very disastrous effects on a very powerful leader. Well, as the book was being released, lo and behold, a gal by the name of Sally Quinn released her memoirs. She is a Washington celebrity, insider, journalist, and married to the very famous Washington Post editor Ben Bradley of Watergate fame. In her memoir, she makes it extremely clear that she was immersed in the occult and voodoo and actually cast hexes herself, and she says, with disastrous results to some of her victims. So voodoo, the occult, right now in the United States of America, it is everywhere. The second concentric circle of evil that I took a look at and illustrated in The Empowered were the tools that are used. Because one has a mindset, corrupt heart, bad intentions in terms of an evildoer. They look for tools and mechanisms, the technology to be able to reach their mission, whatever that happens to be. Right now, the internet is a force both for good and for evil. There's a very dark underbelly of the internet called the dark web, and the portals of it are not impossible to access. And there is a reality now that the dark web portion of the internet is a source of not only criminal activity, but also human trafficking and untold evils. That's one of the concentric circles I decided to highlight also in The Empowered, to show what damage it can do and how it might be remedied. The third concentric circle that I looked at in The Empowered was the fallout when evil grabs a hold of the tools of technology and works its evil doing. Who are the victims? What is the fallout, and what does it look like? And what can we do about it? Well, in this book, The Empowered, we see a violent sect of voodoo using the tools of the dark web to abduct, abuse, and corrupt youth through human trafficking.